morning, traders. I'm Dennis Dick.
And I'm Joel Elconin. Welcome to Premarket Info.
This market is trying to form a bottom and bouncing off that bottom this morning. We're up 8 points. Procter & Gamble, Sprint, ZNGA, ConocoPhillips all beat. CROX disappoints and Best Buy warns. Surprise, surprise. McKesson is buying PSS World Medical for $29 a share. And Apple and Amazon report tonight. First, let's start with the market.
Yeah, it's like deja vu all over again here. We're back down in the 1400s. Don't want to tell anybody this, Dennis, but I might be getting a little bullish down here.
Yeah, we obviously bounced and made multiple lows in August and even in the beginning of September in the whole 1392 to 1395 area. We're trying to bottom out just above that area in the whole psychological 1400. The bulls are protecting that level. If you take a look, we've had almost a double bottom exactly from the 22nd and from yesterday at 1402 and a quarter, and we are up 10 points from there. So the bulls have put in a temporary double bottom here.
Yeah, and stocks are confirming that as well, Dennis. You have three lows in Apple right around the 610 area. Of course, you have the wild card with the earnings. Microsoft is seen to found a bottom under 28, making three lows around 27, 80, 85. Your favorite stock, General Electric, has a potential triple bottom in place. And Wells Fargo hanging out, many lows at 33.50 and Coca-Cola at 36.50. So the downside is very well defined. And you know what? The upside is too, because the intraday high from Tuesday was 14.50. We stalled yesterday at 15 even. Globex high, 1475. We get above 1415 today, Dennis, and we are off to the races.
Yeah, it does open up above that 1415 area. You can really see it on the chart here. 1, 2, 3, 4 tops there over the course of the last couple of days since we cut down there on the 22nd. So if we start to get back up, it could move up there quickly. It's all air, probably up to 1430 above there, but I think the investors are probably, I can't see you just taking off here today ahead of these Apple earnings. I think maybe you have Apple and Amazon obviously reporting tonight, so that's going to be your driver going forward. We'll come back to Apple, but let's just start with the earnings here this morning. Procter & Gamble reported they did beat $1.06 against estimates of 96 cents, and the stock is trading higher here, not taking off, but just on very light volume, only 868 shares, but is bid up at 68.70, has traded a couple times, a couple hundred shares has traded 69.
You have a 3-day high at 68 double. We're just hanging out just above that. You really can't start laying out the shorts in this stock if it gets above that level, really until the high or the mid 69s. Yeah. You had a triple top there from 69.49 to 69.64. So you really can't start laying them out because there's that gap down with that day when it went from 69.47 to 68.57. The little vacuum. It could be the reverse vacuum, and boy, I'm sure there's probably about 47 million shares for sale at 70.
70 would be enormous. I think you'll start to see this thicken up in the mid 69s, just like you were saying there, Joel. So if the stock goes into rally mode, don't get too excited here. It probably will run into trouble as you start crawling through the 69 handle. You get into the upper 69s, and you are littered with high frequency resistance up there as they lean in front of the huge sellers that have been at 70.
And if you're trying to purchase it on the cheap or you want a stop out point, keep an eye on the close there, 68.08.
ZNGA beating here too, just by a penny. They didn't make any money, 0 cents, but they were supposed to lose a penny. The revenue was a bit better though. I thought this might get a lift yesterday off Facebook. It didn't, and I was like, I bought a little bit off the open. It didn't really follow through, so I turned around and sold it. Now I'm kicking myself because here the stock is trading up 15% this morning at $2.45.
Dead money.
Long run probably, but short run.
I mean,
look at Facebook.
I don't know. Well, yeah, look at Facebook. I mean, what ZNGA? What do they have? Animal Farm or
I
Farmville
don't
or
know.
all
I
the.
don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't play games on TV. I don't play games on my phone. I mean, Words with Friends is maybe somewhat would be the most appealing thing, but I don't know. I'm looking at that little screen. I'm an old man. It kills my eyes. 260 is the high in the pre-market. Since that hit that 260, you're falling back to 242. Good volume associated with this. If in fact it could break above 260, the next resistance level is 280, and then pulling back. I mean, this thing. Look at those ranges, man. Who could trade that thing?
Yeah, wow, that's just it. It's you can say overall this stock has had a pretty ugly year. It just by getting this dead cat bounce here, just off of decent earnings, but nothing to write home about. I mean, they still didn't make money, so I'm not in love with it long term either. But short run, some of these stocks are starting to come back into favor. So just keep an eye on Facebook. That'll be an indicator a little bit on the Zynga too. Facebook can't hold its gains. You can expect Zynga to roll over as well. Best Buy warns Joel. I mean, what's there to say about this thing? We know that if it doesn't get taken over, it just continues probably down. But we know Schultz was, kicking around the thoughts of putting in another offer. Well, that has not materialized yet. People that have been banking on that have been hurt very badly, and they are getting hurt again this morning.
I'll let you draw a trend line today.
Okay.
coming off,
I can,
coming off that top there at
right.
1853.
I even
Just
drew it farther
coming.
back than that. I went and grabbed some of the tops
Yeah, I
up
mean,
higher.
oh yeah, you could maybe even get it
I
off
did.
the Schultz top
I
there.
did. I grabbed it off the Schultz top. I sold up
Uh,
there. Thank you very much. Got me out of it, Schultz, because I had an investment in that. I only lost a couple bucks, and I'm really happy about it. So that was one of my better losses.
I want to see what he did on that day. That'd be interesting. Well, 16 and a quarter has been the low of the move. We've obliterated that in the pre-market. We have traded on the initial spike. We traded down to 15.64, just kind of hanging out 20 cents above that. So keep an eye on that 15.64 area. Also, if you go back to the monthlies and you look way back in November of 2008, the stock bottomed at 1642. So you got to imagine if it does take out the 1650, well, it already has taken that out. So you will have to look at the next major support level at 1577 if in fact it can't hold this current pre-market level.
Procter, or I already did Procter and Gamble, but MO Altria is reported here this morning as well. 58 cents against estimates of 58 cents. But the stock announced a $500 million expansion of their share repurchase program. So that's what's lifting the stock here in the pre-market. Not up on huge volume, only 4,500 shares, but 32.35 is where it's trading at here. But this trend ain't that pretty on this
Yeah,
one either.
yeah, it's not looking good here for
No.
Altria. It spiked down to 31.83 in the pre-market, probably on their earnings, and then got the bounce on the stock buyback. People thought they were like buying it back immediately. Made a high at 32.39. Keep an eye on that level because that coincides with yesterday's high at 32.45. So unless it could get above that area, the pre-market high as well as yesterday's high, I look for this stock to kind of trade lower.
ConocoPhillips reported earnings here too. Stock trading quite a bit higher here, up almost $1. The numbers were real good, a buck 44 against estimates of a buck 13, so they beat handily. 56.70 is where it's bid right now in the pre-market. Light volume again. A lot of these things just have light volume, but if you get up here in this 58s, there's been sellers in the 58s for the last month. I know we're still $1 away from there, but if you get some follow through, you are starting to come into resistance.
Okay, so that big gap down back in April and May, that was a spin-off. Is that
Yes, that was the
correct?
spinoff.
Okay,
So I hate that they don't adjust the charts for stuff like that because it makes the thing look bad when you get that whole thing going on. And, really it's trading up near the highs, but they don't adjust them for spinoffs.
yeah, 58.52 was the high on the 18th. That we're quite a ways away from there. I think what you need to look at in this stock today, you had a double top, 56.33 and 56.43. We have got above that in the pre-market. I think as long as it can hold that level, there's really not much resistance until the close from 3 days ago at 57.04. And then you're also finding a lot of support here at the 55.70, 55.81 area if it goes into sell-off mode.
Crocs trading down on their earnings. They actually beat 49 cents against estimates of 43, but they lowered guidance for the fourth quarter, and the stock is getting killed right down to where it's got found major support in July, just below 14, 1380, 1392. It's trading just above there right now, 1414. How low do we get in the pre-market?
We did get to 14.10 in the
Right there.
pre-market.
We're trading right there
Wow.
right now.
Yep, yep. And then you had on July 25th of 2012, the 1384 low. So you got to look at that area as support. So you didn't get rid of your pink ones and buy purple ones?
No, I didn't. I still got the pink ones there, Joel. Yeah, no Crocs for me. I've never been a big Crocs fan. You can buy so many generic versions of those things too, though. Like they're more expensive than the name brand ones. You can go like flea markets and find those things for like $5 a pair. So I don't know.
Actually, my wife bought me a pair once, and they were even Michigan Crocs.
Oh, nice
University.
ones.
I took them back.
You took them back. At least they weren't
Yeah.
Tiger Crocs, as
I
I'd be
mean,
taking
if,
those
if I
back.
was 5 years old, maybe. I really don't think anybody over 12 years of age should be wearing Crocs.
My dad wears them every once in a while, so I do see him. But I think he wears a generic version of them, so Crocs isn't making any money off him too. Stuff's just too replicatable. I can't, I can't see owning this stock long term at all. It is a tradable area though, this low here in this 1380s, 1390s. So if you're a trader there and you're trying to pick bottoms, that area looks like a bottom that might be able to be picked. But long run here, don't get caught in this thing because I think it goes lower. Moving on here, MCK is buying PSSI for $29 a share. PSSI trading up on 2.5 million shares, just below the takeout price of 28.66. Not much to say there. We know where that's going. But McKesson, what do you think of this? It hasn't had any trades here today. Little acquisition for them. Do a technical on it, though, Joel.
I like the technicals on this one. I think it's pretty straightforward the way our traders should approach this stock here. You basically have identical ranges from the last 2 days. So if they really like this deal and they think it's going to be good for the company, they're going to bust it above 90.40 and take it higher. If they feel they're spending too much for this company and it's gonna not any good, taking out this 89.36 level, I think you'll come down and test those bottoms at 89. And also below that, you have a low at 88.45. But I really like this $89 level on a retreat.
Honeywell getting an upgrade over at Bernstein. Stock trading up pretty significantly in the pre-market. It's actually
Whew.
bid 61.90. Only 100 shares traded, but nobody is even hitting at that 61.90. The 100 shares trade at 61.75. So it looks like Honeywell is going to open up quite a bit stronger here on the day. I mean, it's had a couple wild ranges here last week.
Well, yeah, that was due to earnings and everything. You had the perfect double top at 63.48. Sellers came in, took this thing back down to this just under 61. Really like the 61 as major support. We're quite a ways away from there. But virtually, Dennis, if we could break above this 61.76 where we're hanging out in the pre-market, you have the 3-day high close is 62.28 and 62.49. That'd be a little bit resistance. Besides that, you're looking at Vacuum City up to 63.48.
Let's go back and talk about Apple because it does report tonight. It is going to be the driver. You did point out that the last 4 days, this thing
Wow.
has bottomed in this whole 610 area. Is lifting off there again, 619. So, I mean, looking at your charts, you've got support pretty clearly defined here in the 610 area. Obviously, after earnings, who knows? So, today I would say you've got support at 610. Who knows, though? I think this thing could move 20, 30 points on the report, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, I think you have a scenario here where this stock has come down from over $700. So I mean, if you're short in this thing and you've caught it anywhere in these almost 100-point break, I mean, why would you want to be short going into earnings? I
Scary.
mean, yeah, I mean. who knows? It could drop 50 points and, go back down to that five, what it did similar on its last
back in
earnings
July.
reports. But you're just coming on. I mean, they did sell some iPhone 5s. I mean, it's hard to go against it. On the other hand, coming back on the upside, yesterday the rally stopped just a little bit short of that major resistance at 635. I'd look for this thing to have a fairly docile day. Surely, if it gets down 610, major support, and I imagine yesterday's high 626 double could be good resistance.
Amazon reports tonight too. That stock did not have a great day yesterday. Closed near the lows at 228.49. Looking at the chart here, it has had a rough month, topping out at 263 or so in early October. Now coming down, trading 228. What do you think's in store for this one tonight?
I have no idea when it comes to the earnings. I mean, if it's based on how much I do on Amazon, they won't be very good. But usually when a stock closes just off the lower of the day like that and gets a lift, you're either going to get a nice reversal off the 227.95 low, or it's just going to, pop and drop and take that out. You have a gap to fill, Dennis. We talk about the gaps. You have a gap to fill between 221.45 and 224.50. So the 224.50 would be your next support point, and 221.50 under that.
I think investors are nervous going into this number, and I wouldn't be surprised if you've seen some follow through weakness here today ahead of the number. Wouldn't be surprised if it's lost $4 or $5 before. Obviously, once they report, who knows? But I just think investors are nervous going into this Amazon number. I mean, it's got such a ridiculously high multiple, but they do keep building market share, but it's trading at such a high multiple. It's scary. That it's scary to own those high multiple stocks. You've seen what happens in other ones, so I'm kind of I'm hesitant to be along this thing, that's for sure. Facebook, let's just talk about yesterday because wow, what a day for Facebook. That is just an incredible move. You were saying in the pre-market it looked like 25 was topping out. It did. Pulled back, never even sniffed up there during the regular session. 24.25 is as high as it got, and then peeled
Yeah.
back $1. I mean, you need to keep an eye on that low from yesterday at 22.85. If it starts breaching there, then I wouldn't not want to be long this stock.
Yeah, you actually made a good call on that. I was getting all excited to stock up $3.5 in the pre-market, licking my chops at like every resistance level, and you just threw a word of caution out and said, hey, let it go, let it go. And then I look at it at like 9.25 and things traded $25, and I just thinking, oh my God, if this thing opens up at 25, lo and behold, it'll be a great short. And they were laughing at my offer at 25 there. It got to 24.98 in the pre-market. And I just think that, what you have a scenario of that is, your short-term intermediate players, that are long millions and millions of shares, they're just lifting offers in the pre-market. Whatever's out there, they're lifting at 100, 200. I mean,
Yeah.
even though there was some big volume traded, it was more than that. And then boom, so you get the thing up to 24 and a half, $25, and then you say, okay, sell me 15 million at the market, and that's what happened. It just the sellers came in. Have to agree with you about that 22.85 low. It'll just be a grinder to go back down and fill the gap at 19.80.
Overall market thoughts. We are trading up here, 8.5. Like we said at the top of the show, 1400 is trying to form a base down there, and if you get above that 1415, you do have some room to run. So don't think just because we're bounced 10 points we're going to give it back right away. It does open up here in another buck or two.
Yeah, similar scenario to yesterday. We had the resistance at 1450, which I mentioned Tuesday's intraday high. Same scenario here. So, folks, if you can open up here, take out that level, I think you get some nice follow through. If not, just look some backing and filling, because on any retreat back towards that 1402 level, I think the market's going to be stacked with bids.
That's our show for today. Good luck with the Apple Amazon earnings there tonight, and have a great train day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.